Hello, dear students. Welcome to another important EVS class. We are in Unit 11 and we are going to learn about directions and time. It's something that is very important to your day-to-day life, right? Because when we go somewhere, we need directions. And every part of the day, we need to check the time. Time to study, time to eat, time to play, time to work, time to do certain things. Then time to do your home prayers, time to study, do your homework. So everything is based on time and directions. In a everyday activity, we need both of these. So that is why today we are going to learn about directions and time. So let's start with the four important directions. There are four important directions: north, south, east, and west. All of you must have heard this, but we are going to study in a little detail today. North, south, east, and west. Now, how do we find out which is our north, which is our south, which is our east, which is our west? There is a simple, easy, very smart way to find out our directions. So, where does the sun rise? Have you heard? Yes, you've always heard from everybody and in your textbooks that the sun rises on the east. The sun rises on the east. Okay, so then why are we having the sunrise topic here? Yes, because when the sun, if when you face the east direction, okay, where the sun rises is, that is the east, of course. Then what will be behind you if you face the east direction where the sun is rising? Then what is behind you is west. So that is how you find out your direction. So next time somebody asks you what is north, south, east, west, now you know. Simple but very smart and very reliable method of finding your directions. Okay, so we have found that we can find out the north, south, east, and west. Now we're going to learn about maps. What are maps? Maps are any drawing of the earth or any part of the earth on a flat surface is called as a map. I will repeat. The drawing of the earth, okay, the drawing of the earth or any part of the earth, like a country or a state or anything or a continent, if you draw that on a flat surface, then that is called a map. This is not a map, this is a globe, you know it. But I'm saying this is also a drawing of the earth, but it's a globe, okay? And on a flat surface it is called as a map. That's right. Now, the people who make the maps are called as cartographers. Cartographers. When it comes to map, the way we look at the north, south, east, and west is very different. Okay? That is, we look at the map. The top is the north, bottom is the south. Okay? Then we have the east, and then we have the west. So that is how we look at a map every time. A little different from what we learned about the sunrise. Okay? How we see directions. Then, in your textbook, there is a small activity for you. The map of the world is given. You have to write down the north, south, east, and west. With the information that we learned now, you can finish that small activity. Now, moving on to time. Time is so important, right? For you and me, we need to know what is time and how do we find time. You know, how do we understand what is the time of the day, etc. So, you all know that we have 24 hours in a day. 24 hours in a day. Okay, we say 24 hours in a day, but in that 12 hours is day and 12 hours is night. Okay, 12 hours is day and 12 hours is night. How is the 12 hours in day and night divided? How do we know? Yes, with the help of sun, with the help of the sun. When the sun is there the whole day, it is called as the time the sun is there, it's called as the day. And when the sun sets, then from then on it's called as the night. Okay, so imagine the sun is rising in the east. Not imagine, think in your mind. Yes, sun is rising in the east. That's a fact and that's a truth. Okay. Now, the sun is rising in the east. So, the sun is rising, rising, rising. When the sun appears in the sky, we call that as the morning. Okay, we call that as the morning. There are other classifications like mid-morning, late afternoon, all that. That as you learn in higher classes, you can learn those details. But for now, we will just learn the morning, afternoon, evening and night. Okay. So, when the sun rises, it is the morning. Okay. And then after some time, the sun moves to the peak higher in the sky. And that time we call it as the afternoon, and call as a noon, sorry. We call it as the noon. And that time the sun is very, very hot. And then after some time, after the noon, slowly the sun starts going down in the sky. That is, it goes slowly down, and then it comes to evening. Evening is when the sun sets. Okay, so let's go back to the noon once. So when the sun is come in the east, then it keeps rising and comes high in the sky, and that is the noon. Okay, then that is at 12 o'clock, and then after that, then 1, 2 and all, then the sun will slowly start moving towards the the lower part. That is, then it will be called as afternoon, and then towards the evening, then the sun will set, and then when the sun sets, the night falls, and that is, it becomes dark. And who comes in the sky? Another giant light. And twinkle, twinkle, that's right, the moon and the stars, and we call that as the night. Now, did you understand the difference? I mean, you all know it. These are things that we see every day. Yet, when we learn it from our textbook, there's always a little extra information. So, what all did we learn today? We learned about directions, about map, and about time. So, what is it about directions we learned? That we have 4 directions: north, south, east, and west. How will we find, what is that reliable technique for us to find out the directions? That is, when we stand facing the sunrise, where the sun rises is the east, and so what will come behind you is the west. And if you stretch out your hands, your left hand will be the north direction and your right hand will be the south direction. Left hand will be the north direction and right hand will be the south direction. This is a easy way for you to find out the directions. Then what did we learn? We learned that map is the drawing of the earth or any part of the earth on a flat surface. That is called as a map. And the person who draws a map is called as a cartographer. And what is different about the directions of the map? Yes, when we look at the map, always the north is on the top. Yeah, like India, Jammu and Kashmir is on the top. Then we look at the whole world map, you will see the North Pole on the top. Okay, South Pole at the bottom. Remember? And when we look at our Indian map, South India is at the bottom. Okay, then the east and the west. Okay, so that is about map and directions we learned, directions of the map we learned. And now we are going to recap about the time. In time, we learned that there are 24 hours of a day and there is 12 hours of day and 12 hours of night. And that is divided because of the presence of sun and absence of sun, or when the sun rises and the sun sets. So, sun rises in the morning Then at 12 noon, it is high in the sky. And then afternoon, that is after 12 o'clock, then it slowly starts moving. And by evening, then it sets, the sun sets. And then the night starts. And when the night starts, moon and the stars appear. So that's what we have learned in today's class. And something very important in your textbook, please turn with me to page number 120. We use a clock or a wristwatch to know the time. Yes, that is our way to know the time. In the olden days, they used only the sun to know the time, and then they use sundial, then they use various techniques. But nowadays, we use clock or watch or mobile phones. That is how we know the time. But sun still remains, okay? When we know the sunrise is morning, peak hour of the sun is afternoon, and then evening sunset. So those things don't change, okay? Let's look at the study table given below. One day has 24 hours. 1 hour has 60 minutes. 1 minute has 60 seconds. How many days in a week? 7 days. One fortnight is called as 15 days. And in a year, there are 365 days. And in a leap year, that is 366 days. 1 month has 30 or 31 days. You know that some months of the year have 31 and some months of the year have only 30. 1 year has 12 months. What is 1 decade? Sometimes you see in the textbooks and sometimes you hear on the news it's been a decade. Decade means 10 years. Century. 1 century is 100 years. Okay, look at that fact zone. A leap year has 29 days in the month of February instead of 28. So, it's a very informative class. From today onwards, you will not forget what are directions, okay, and how to find what is the direction. You can, for example, try what is the north, south, east and west of your home. And neighbors on the right, neighbors on the left, neighbors in the front, neighbors at the back. You can just find out by the help of this direction. So try to wake up in the morning and see the sunrise, and that is your east. Then you find the west at the back, and your left hand is the north and your right hand is the south. Okay, that is for directions. And then when you look at the map, the top is the north, bottom is the south, then is the east and the west. Okay, that's the only tiny difference. So I hope you learned new things and you're going to use them in your daily life. And you will also add new things to what you've already learned by asking your parents and grandparents, and also getting more information from reading other books. So that is how we improve our knowledge. So bye-bye for now. See you in another class of EVS very, very soon. Bye-bye.